Many things in life seem to be unpredictable in the sense that we seem to be bombarded by many surprising scenarios that may interrupt our sense of peace in some way. And I'm not saying that all surprises are bad, some are quite good in fact. However, when something bad happens, such as an unexpected illness in the family or even the loss of a loved one, we can't help but look back at the choices we've made throughout our life that got us here in the first place. Many predictions that take place in the world of the metaphysical are and can be a complicated mess. There may be some, truth to it, to some parts of it, but much of it can be quite off. Why is that? Well, what I feel or find is that it comes down to who they're receiving the information from. Now, I can't go into the details of what I know and understand, but I will take the time to discuss that in a later video. There are some things that are highly predictable due to the surrounding circumstances that are taking place of an individual or a situation. But let's say we are to look into a future outcome of a situation that is broader in the sense of a world catastrophe or an outcome of a war. One thing to keep in mind is that there are a lot of factors at play here regarding those examples. The outcome is highly dependent upon who the major players are and what their tendencies are and how they relate to each other in discussions, for example. There are too many factors involved when it comes to who are involved and what they tend to do. Putin, for one, I see as someone who is held firm in what he's planning on doing. He's drawn out a plan that he's set to follow through, no matter how the world views him. To him, he feels that he's doing right by his people, even though they disagree. In a sense, he feels that they are not intelligent enough to know, that they don't know any better. He has a sense of power within him that makes him think he can do whatever he wishes with or without the consent of his people. Even those he closely works with are just aides to him, not someone who he sees as equals. Oftentimes he doesn't see eye to eye with them, refusing any advice or suggestions that they think are good ideas. Well, anyway, that's the feeling I get from him. Therefore, I would have to factor in those traits to have any idea of what's coming next. It's hard to say because you have to factor in the fight from the Ukrainians, how far they're willing to go, which by what we're seeing, there are people who are willing to go all the way. Then factor in the rest of Europe. What are the other countries willing to do? You see how this can get quite messy when trying to predict the outcome of this war? This is the case for many world events. However, when one event happens that is closely watched, the outcome can be better predicted. I'll go into that in a later video sometime. Well, I want to take the time to thank you so much for coming onto our channel, Metaphysical Awakening. Whether you found us through a friend or a family member, our website that you happen to find by chance, or as a suggested video to watch on YouTube or Odysee, we're happy you're here, and we hope whatever we share here is to your liking. Basically, what I do is share some experiences I've had when examining each and every topic that is in some shape or form related to the metaphysical. There's more than what our eyes see, what our hands touch, or what we ourselves feel in regards to, our physical senses. And what we find is that just about everything has energy, and each is displayed quite differently in the sense of what art displays of colors they give off, what feelings they leave behind, what sensations you feel inside, and what knowing you receive from them. So what is it that makes the metaphysical such a mystery to everyday people like you and I? Is it because it's translucent in the way that it's not seen to the visible eye? or that it's unintelligible in the sense that you and I can't make it out, so we come up with ideas or hypotheses to explain what it is that we're experiencing. Well, we can't help but ask what it's really all about and how it applies to our life as we live our day-to-day life, fulfilling our purpose as much as we could. These and other questions come to our mind when experiencing situations or events that we can't help but to categorize them as, metaphysical, and wonder what the significance of them being placed in our life is. And we'll go more into this as time goes on, but there is an importance to the way I arrange the videos. I do my best to arrange them in a way for those new to this would understand where I'm coming from and understand that this doesn't only apply to a special group of people. In our experience, and when I say our, I'm speaking of my own and my mom's experience. I work alongside her in this field. We've gathered that this applies to everyone. We haven't met one single person who is exempt from this. And why? Well, we find that it's mainly because we're all energy beings. We're all spirits in a physical body. So when we look into your energy and anyone else's, that's what we see is energy. We see specific markings or frequencies that make you different from any other. You are, an individual being. We may see a display of energy frequencies that make you similar to another, which may be just enough to cause an attraction between you both. But underneath that thin layer of energy, there are other sets of frequencies that make you different from all the rest. So come with me as we delve into the world of the metaphysical to learn and appreciate the significance of what that means in our life. We hope you enjoy the information that you've gathered from here and see perhaps if any of it applies to you. So thank you so much, and feel free to visit our website for any additional information, such as the metaphysical properties of stones. And if you're interested in a consultation with us, you can have a look at the different services we offer. So we look forward to meeting you. Now, as we look into the future, it may appear bleak due to the ongoing situations taking place now. As one friend put it, it's hard to determine what will happen in the next coming months because what has happened in the last couple of years just have been unimaginable. These situations have affected us in ways we couldn't imagine, but they're here, and in some cases they're here to stay. So what can we do to bunker ourselves down as we ride out the storm and try to maintain some type of leverage that is favorable to us? Well, as we know, this pandemic, which was something you'd only hear about in conspiracy theories or played out in films, basically has taken place in the real world, in real life scenario. But what of it? What led us to this point? Could it have been prevented? What's coming next? Should we prepare for the next? Did it really escape a lab and just released to the rest of the world? Did you and I do something about it in regards to spreading it? Did we do our best to control the spread, or did we do a bad job of it? All these questions and more weigh heavily on people's minds. I mean, look at where we are now. Not even close to being back to where we were. Things have changed indefinitely. So how do we process what took place just recently, and how do we live through it? Well, I certainly don't have a global approach to this because we're all different for many different reasons, but that doesn't mean we as individuals shouldn't come up with ways to resolve the issues we're facing. We as a people have always come up with possibilities in which we mold and shape the potential outcome of a situation. We have a way of coming up with ingenious ways to make it through crises. We've done it over and over again, one way or another. We've overcome many catastrophes as a human race, so we can overcome, this particular case. And in doing so, some ugliness, some deception, some corruption, some hypocrisies, some unintelligent way of speaking by our political leaders will come to the surface, and much have. But there are more to come, and we know it. There are more coming to the surface. What stayed hidden for long will not stay hidden forever. It's as if you pull a string and everything along with it unravels. This is the way of the world. One thing is taken down, but along comes another and another and another, and then you see how deep this really is. It's how it's been, throughout history, when power and control becomes truly corrupted to the point that it can no longer hide itself. It bubbles to the surface until it becomes too noticeable for the public to ignore. Truth triumphs one way or another, and along with it, people tend to rise and rebel. It's as if the coffers within them are at its brink and they can no longer hold it inside. Freedom of expression is truly within us, and it comes in the form of rebellion, fight for honor and peace among the nation. When you can no longer tolerate the calamity brought on the people around you by your leaders, you react. One way or another, we react. It's just the way it is. There's something within us that forces us to act out, whether that's for peace, truth, unity, whatever it is that gives us a basis for acting out. We can no longer hold it in. It's as if we're exploding with anger, because a lot of times that's the emotion that's displayed when acting out in rebellion. So when you go to a peaceful protest, it's important to note, of course, that not all the people there are there with peaceful intentions. All kinds of emotions can be built up in an individual, and you never know what might set them off. It's just, one thing to consider when you're in a larger group. For the most part, people go there in peace, doing their best to spread that kind of energy in and around the crowd, because that's all that they really want. Peace. Peace within their community, peace within their family, peace within their life. We all want peace. We want to live our lives peacefully, and that means being who we truly are, which involves freedom, existing the way we should be allowed to exist, with harmony among other fellow human beings, and appreciating our differences. But this continues to be quite a trial for us globally on this planet. We seem to draw ourselves back to the drawing board, so to speak, with this misfortune and that misfortune, with this issue and that issue. We never seem to get above a certain point in human history, and that's living peacefully amongst each other. We seem to easily become divided and therefore reach violent means. Why is that? Why do we often get to this point and never really seem to overcome it? Perhaps it's because we're too extreme, in the sense that we seem to get easily unstable. Our emotions get in the way, and we get blindsided by another for whatever reason. Perhaps it's our stature. And what I mean by that is, perhaps we tend not to get over ourselves. Perhaps we believe we have a certain position in society, and we hang on to that for dear life, so that we can maintain our significance and let people know that we won't move past that to make the right decision. Or perhaps the devastation that took place on a family farm was just enough for someone to see red and react in a way that we can't help but see as a justification for what had happened to the family. You never know how us humans may react to certain situations. In a way, we may be unpredictable. Just the right amount of this or that taking place in a person's life might just be enough to set them off in ways we would never have thought. At times, we explode with anger and we explode with sadness, and these two emotions combined can make one act in a way we would have never considered. So what does this have to do with our history? Well, many things. We rebel, we act out, we do things that may be unredeemable, but still we do it, and it's been repeated time and time again. But what now? We live in a time of technological advancements we would have never considered before. Does this make us more civilized in a way in which we're less likely to react or behave in such a way? Well, we have seen the calamities that have taken place from such technological advancements in the Western world. So we can't agree with that. So what of it? What do we now do with all the changes taking place in the world that seems to shake up our lives in one way or another? What I find is that there's an importance to our ancient customs. And what do I mean by this? Well, with all the changes taking place in the world at such a rampant rate, we tend to feel at a loss as to where we're headed, where this will lead us to. So I find that ancient customs could be very useful in our time, such as Tai Chi and any movements related to such practice, yoga, many forms of meditation, walking through a forest in search of something that truly represents who you are inside, which is a technique for finding oneself. Dancing, which is done in many cultures to liven one's spirit. Molding and shaping the earth, a technique done to connect oneself to the earth by applying water to sand or dirt to mold it into something. The act of doing it calms the spirit down and concentrates one mind on the task at hand. Sitting in a circle with your loved ones and sharing secrets, sharing what ails you, sharing what made you happy that day, and so on. Walking hand in hand to a destination as one is speaking and the other is listening in retrospect to what one is saying. The act of truly recognizing each other by gazing into each other's eyes, therefore breaking down that wall that was lingering there for who knows how long. Pounding your feet on the ground rhythmically as a way to shake up your energy. As your feet make contact with the ground below, the mind places itself away from what makes you sad and moves on to what connects you to the earth by making contact with it. Each time you pound your feet on the ground rhythmically, it can be good for the heart too, as it shakes up the knots and burdens that you carry here. It's a nice way to release yourself from them. I believe making it a regular routine in your life would be very beneficial. It's done in some parts of the world to ward off evil spirits according to their beliefs, but I find that energetically and mentally it does them a lot of good. Also, another example is music. Yeah, music. We're quite aware of how powerful music is. It's very powerful on our mind, body, and heart. It's also very powerful energetically. And I find that music has a way of healing through its many frequencies, which have an effect on us in many different ways. Many turn to music for many different reasons, but one that I find most interesting is how music has the ability to change our mood. It can make us happy when we're stressed or simply unhappy about something. It has a way of changing our mood in the sense of making us feel, one way at one moment to another at another moment. It can make us feel rebellious at the same time making us feel spunky, and it can make us feel melancholy in a second. Have you noticed that? Well, the point is, music goes back, to the beginning of time. It's ingrained in us. It's a part of us. And for some, it's all they hear. Therefore, they compose and write lyrics for all to hear. It's a lovely gift to share. Perhaps it's possible that we all may at some point have wanted to be a musician, whether as a violinist, a pianist, singer, or simply as a composer or songwriter. We may have at some point in our life felt the impulse to do something related to music. If not make music, dance to it. Well, anyway, my point is these are all different ways or forms that date back centuries of powerful yet simple movements and activities that help the human mind and heart to cultivate themselves in a way that's natural, at least more natural than what we get from our technical devices. We can find ways using all these examples and many more others that help the human race in some form or fashion. Now, as for the future, there's more to come that will rock us or knock us out of our chair, so to speak. Many of us are aware and we can feel it inside. Many of us know there's more to unravel in front of our eyes, and we'll continue to be shocked at how far people are willing to go to hide their corruption. But we also know that this is a type of cleansing, this is a type of uprooting what needs to be uprooted. There is more to come in the sense that people will do more of what needs to be done to clean up this mess. People are reacting now, but more of this will be taking place, and for many countries it will appear as a period of unrest and instability. But as we know from our history, this is what takes place when things get bad. This is what we do. We learn, we grow, and we survive. In the meantime, we do our best to live right, even in dire situations. Well, much love to you all from Metaphysical Awakening. We hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are. Thank you so much for stopping by our channel. Stay strong and may peace be among you. Although we live in different countries, have different customs, speak different languages, we all desire something that's special to obtain, and that is peace. It's really what connects us in a harmonious state. So may peace be among you, your family, and friends. Take care, everyone. Bye.